exciting week this week, right? We have some really cool relationship topic to
Yeah.
share with all our ladies out there. Namaste, everybody. Namaste, Amy.
Namaste, Jing. Always looking forward to seeing you on Wednesday.
Yeah, me too. This is an official Wednesday hangout, right?
Yes,
And
exactly.
it's so great. I have just, we're gonna be like getting a lot of questions today because this
Okay.
is our relationship talk part two, right?
Part
And
two.
last week, yeah, part two. Who knows? There might be like part three, four, all the way to 10, and it really depends on what everybody wants to, hear from
Maybe,
us.
maybe it's like it should be like help Amy manifest like a healthy relationship. This could be like the process and see if like
Yes, exactly.
we can figure that out.
I know. So like last week, we had Chami, right? Is that how we say
Yes.
your name? Yes, Chami asked, how can you maintain a balancing relationship? Oh, there we go. How can you maintain a balancing relationship so that you don't get crush and burn? Is that it's, so we're trying to decode your message. So both Amy and I
Yeah.
interpret that question as how can you stay balanced so that you still have that space for yourself, you still have that sanity, you don't go to extreme, like I don't know, put all your time and effort into loving someone, but you may not have enough time for yourself, or what is it like, or if you go all in, right? Sometimes we can go all in when we're in a relationship, and when something goes wrong you realize, oh shit, I've invested all
Yeah.
my energy and emotions and everything in this, and this is not working, and you may feel so defeated. Yes, is that right, Amy? Yeah, anything to add to that?
I totally am with you, Jing, and it's something that's actually I think been coming up as a common theme for a lot of people that I know recently is how to maintain balance. Period. Like how to maintain balance, right? Because as we were talking about last week, a relationship is our closest mirror to ourselves. So
Mm-hmm.
if I'm not able to maintain balance in myself, this is going to be reflected really strongly in a relationship. And this is my nerdy pleasure is that actually when I was learning science very, very deeply, I came to this like aha moment in science, especially chemistry. That really life is, we talk about duality a lot, and there's so many different forms of duality, right? There's love versus hate. There's light versus dark. There's male and female. There's positive and negative, and all of up and down, and all of that, right? So we can always assign things in relation to these dualities. But what chemistry taught me was actually, even on a physical atomic level, you can't really define things very clearly to either extreme. Actually, in chemistry and in nature, things don't like to be in either extreme. They are unstable. So they fluctuate between the two until they find like equilibrium and balance. And this is obviously something that relates really strongly to relationships and also to yourself. So we often talk about the divine feminine, and then there's also the masculine side. And the masculine side is the drive, the motivation, the strength, which we need sometimes, right? We want to, in a relationship, the passion, the assertiveness and things like that. And then there's the feminine side, so the standing back, acknowledging our feelings, maybe more passive and open, and it's obviously the answer is how do we find balance between these two is just to acknowledge both sides of it, which maybe I'll pass on to Jane and she can give us some examples from her own experience in relationships and how to maintain balance.
Right. That was amazing, Amy, how you use science to, and with, our spiritual aspect, right? The science glasses and
I
the
have
spiritual,
some.
I don't know what's like representative of spiritual crystals, right? Glasses and crystals together to explain the duality and also the balance of, love, romantic relationships. And I actually, like from my personal experience, definitely that in every relationship, doesn't matter what you know, like what sexual orientation that you're from, right? There's always that yin yang balance, right? You know, the yin and the yang, and the fire and the water, and even between me and my husband, right? He has a lot of that male energy, but also at the same time, on the energetic level, he's very much yin, and I'm the yang. So I'm
Okay.
the sun, he's the moon, right? Yeah.
Okay, comment if you actually already kind of figured that out.
Yes, that's right. Comment below, right? If you're the yang to your other half's yin, right? Yeah, usually, right? Usually they say the feminine energy is the yin energy, the moon energy,
Yeah.
right? Usually, right? I mean, by the divine spiritual nature, we are, right? But also every feminine, like every female, you know, in our body, mind, and soul, we also have a lot of sun energy and the yang energy too. Right, so we have that duality. So I think it's about when you are in a relationship, right, which part that plays the most, which part is the dominant trait, right, in a relationship. That's the way I see it, because you can look at yourself. I don't know, like I'll try to explain this like quickly without, you know, digressing. You know, individually, we each have, you know, perhaps, you know, like the different elements, right? And also the yin yang in each one of us. But one of it would be more dominant when we're by ourselves. And when we're in a relationship, a lot of things can actually morph, a lot of things can change, right? You know, like our traits, certain traits could come out more. And sometimes, you know, like for example, for me, the yin, I mean, not the yin, the yang is more dominant when I'm in a relationship, like, you know, a bit more assertive, and I'm a bit more blunt and straightforward. You know, my husband is more polite than me, right? And, you know, like I'm more vocal, more action packed than him. And he's the calm one. He's the one that, you know, doesn't have to talk all the time. So yeah. So, you know, from these kind of like practical things, you know, we're definitely yin yang, and also energetically, also decision making and all these things, I can see that we are the yin yang balance, right? So that is something that I will tell everybody, you know, whatever romantic relationship you're in, you know, like whether if it's, you know, like we're talking about all inclusive, right? Not just heterosexual relationship, but, you know, all inclusive, you know, how you and your partner, you know, how you complement each other. And even if sometimes that contrast can really piss you off a lot, right? But sometimes, right, it's like, oh my God, like this person is totally the opposite of me. But embrace it. Firstly, embrace the opposites, right? Because opposite attract, you know, opposite energy, right? Not just sex and everything, but really we're talking about energy here, right? So embrace the opposing energy, but not really opposing, but I make it sound like it's conflicting, but the opposite energy, how they come together.
Opposites.
Exactly.
Science, opposites attract.
Magnets, right? Yeah,
Positive
opposite
opposites.
attract.
Exactly.
The opposites attract energy, exactly. Embrace that first, and also see, you know, how each of you play your part, you know, in making this relationship a harmonious, fun, healthy, a, how should I say, productive, and also one that's sustainable. Yeah, I don't know if anybody has ever used the word sustainability to describe a relationship, but, you know, like we can probably get into detail about it in a second. Sustainable, and also one that is ever growing. That's the way I see it, you know, not a stagnant relationship that I found a lot of times, you know, especially ladies would always expect things to be the same. Like, you know, especially if you've been with someone for a while, you may start to compare, like, you used to give me flowers all the time. How can you even do that anymore? Right? You know, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Comment below if you have been there, like, oh, you used to do these things to me. Now you don't do it anymore. Or, you know, all these things, right? You're comparing your relationship now to how it was at the beginning. Most of the time, it changes, right? It changes in different ways. Like some people will still do the whole chocolate and roses and all these things, right? Some people don't. There's a reason for that. It's not because of anything, but just because we all change when we come together in a relationship. We're changing together, right? And also, we have to evolve together instead of like always feeling that it's necessary to be in the, we call it the, what's the word for that, honeymoon phase, right? The first 3 months period, you know, is the honeymoon phase. I call it the trial period, you know. It's like 3 months trial period, or like, we joke about it, right? This is a joke, by the way, that all the expiry date or refund period, that you can still refund, It's a joke. Okay,
I don't
everybody,
know.
this is a joke.
It's kind
Yeah,
of a joke, but there's a truth there, I think. Yeah. Well, you have to
right.
find out if it's sustainable, if it works. This is the thing. I totally agree with that. It's science again. When you initially throw two chemicals together, right? It's gonna be flying around and reacting like crazy, and then eventually it needs to find balance. It's the same with the relationship also. I'm such a
Definitely. And I see we have Chami saying hello, and our beautiful Dr. Jane saying hello,
Jing.
lovelies.
Hi. Hi,
Yes.
everyone.
And Chami saying I have. Okay, I think she answered what we just asked asked just now, comparing the relationship now to the
Yeah.
beginning to how it was.
I was listening and I was wondering, Jing, are there times when, so for example, if you say you're predominantly yang, are there times where you've had to learn to let's say let your husband step up into that role and find his yang and his male dominance so that he can feel proud and manly?
I can be in the
Yeah.
driver's seat.
Then you
Yeah,
have,
yeah.
to be like, you can build the shelf, honey. Yeah, if that makes you feel good and feel like a man. And then you have to stand to the side, right? And yield and be yin. And it has to be about finding that balance. Maybe you can share.
Oh, that. Okay, yeah. This one is an easy one for me because, like, when it comes to law, there's like, what is it? Fixing a light bulb and, fixing things, handyman stuff. Thank God. I actually I hate doing those things, right? I love hands-on things, but for some reason, it's the way I've been brought up, right? That in a household that I'm very thankful, I'm very blessed that my mom, she showed me like I grew up in an almost unofficial single parent household. So my mom would have to stand up and do all these things and get the tools out. So like for me as the only child, so I grew that dependency on my mom, that I knew that my mom would take care of the cockroaches, she would take care of all those things that I didn't know how to do, right? So she would step up and do it. So I watched that, and of course it's a very amazing, strong, independent woman trait, right? And luckily, when I moved in with my husband, and then he is very hands-on, so he gets to fix all those things and let him, do that,
Feel
right?
like
And he's really good with it. Yeah, so he's really good with it. So yeah, but I know exactly what you mean, that there are times when you absolutely have the capacity, you have the ability to step up and do certain things, but you know that this is something that will be, um, if you just step to the side and let your, other half to take care of it, it will actually give, him or her the chance to feel, what's the word, to feel that, you know, I'm useful. Maybe that's
yeah.
the word. Okay, my husband just woke up, so
I'm a man, and I can fix it. It's an evolutionary thing. Men just
the purpose. It's about the
become a
purpose,
man
right?
and
That they
can
feel the
make
purpose.
fire and build things. They need to fulfill that desire in them. That's super interesting to hear, actually. And I'm listening. I'm even just thinking on a hormonal level. We have the two hormones in our body. Females, the female hormones. We have estrogen and progesterone, and even those are in balance. And even different levels of those can trigger whether or not you're more reactive or more passive. So it's totally, this actually is a really great topic, and I'm so glad that is it Charlie, she asked for this one, because we were, it's such an important one for right now. How can we find balance, right? We're now finding ourselves coming out of lockdown and moving again and getting to our life again. And I think a lot of us now want to not, maybe fall into the same patterns that we did before all of that, and find a way to find balance. Right now, we're working again, we're working hard, but we also need to know when to back off, to make time for ourselves, to acknowledge our need for rest and emotions and things like that. And yeah, so the one that I think that Charlie was saying was, and this is something that I can certainly relate to, needing to work on finding the balance, is like the initial phase, like the trial period. the honeymoon period, and that's when everything is super passionate, right? And well, you never know. They've been in all, I've been in all types of relationships. Sometimes they're slow burning and they start off really, it's like friends or something, and then some. But mostly for me, is like this like whirlwind to start with, where they're making a lot of effort, just like Jing was saying, and buying me things, taking me out on nice dates and stuff like that, and then naturally that will decline. And I think the this is I think more of a trigger we're talking about here than a balance. This is a trigger for women this point, because for us, when we see them maybe back off, stop making so much of an effort, that triggers the, oh, okay, in our mind, in our emotion, the conclusion that we make is that he doesn't care anymore and he's taking you for granted. Okay, this is, yeah, let's just be honest about it, because the more honest that we are, the more out in the open that this is, the less power these patterns have on us. And one thing that's actually helped me is to, I can't remember who wrote the book, but it was brilliant. It was talking about love languages. So everyone has their different love languages.
The 5 languages of love.
Yeah. I think you've gone kind of quiet again, Jing. So whatever you did before, whether it was like smacking.
I'm trying to block out the background noise. Yeah, that's actually the 5 languages of love. That one's so powerful. We should talk about this probably one of the times.
I think, and like watching, observing my parents growing up, they had to work this out. They had totally different love languages, and it was very, what's the word, beneficial for me to see them work this out. Like my dad is sort of, he will, not really say a lot, like put it into words or writing. That's not really his language. But if you pay attention to the things that he's doing, he's so incredibly affectionate and loving. For example, maybe he's not your average like touchy-feely dad, or like always saying, oh, I love you, I love you, I love you. But like
other words.
Yeah, I remember when I was younger, I left my favorite teddy bear at a gas station on a long road trip. And he was like, okay, I'm turning around and we're going back and getting that teddy bear and drive. He'll drive for like an hour and do that. Like he will literally do anything for the people that he cares about. And that's his love language. Like he'll suddenly get an idea, right? Like he used to call me Kitten. That was his nickname for me. So he saw this shirt once in this shop, in this designer shop that had Kitten on it. He's like, I've got to get you this shirt. And like, then you need to pay attention, right? Because it would be so easy to say, well, he never writes down letters or says he loves me. And then you'll miss actually the love that he is giving out there. And I think this relates to people so much, is that right, when the relationship starts at the beginning, oh, they're making all this effort, I feel so loved and appreciated, that's our love language. Well, okay, that's your initial love language, but that can change, right? Because we're constantly, the best relationships grow together, evolve together. So maybe you move on now to a different love language, right? Okay, maybe we're not going out all the time, he's not spending a lot of effort on, but he'll like go and make me a cup of tea, or pass me a blanket or something when we're cuddling watching a movie. And then that's, you've got to pay attention and change your, and not have such a rigid definition of what is like love language for you. So I'll pass it over to
Definitely. That's a great one, Amy. I love that, I really love that you pointed that one out, because that also plays a huge part in creating this harmonious energy for the relationship, right? And also helps the couple to understand each other. I mean, before I discover like the love language, oh my God, I can see that we have more people watching as we start talking about love language. I think everybody wants to know. All right, boys and girls, if you're watching this right now, especially ladies, write this down. What Amy just mentioned about her dad, what he does is one of the love languages, that is acts of service, right? So a lot of women and men, especially I think men, a lot of men actually show their love through acts of service. So that's a classic and perfect example of acts of service. Okay, so that's number one type of love language. And this is something that, not many people are aware of that, but, it's just that you really do have to, speak, or like have that 3 months of period, trial period, to really discover, what actually turns him or her on, right? Not in the bedroom sense, but wow, some people, I found that with a lot of my friends, they get disappointed in their relationship because, for example, like person A really loves words of affirmation. So write this down. Number two, okay, love language number two, words of affirmation, right? If you're the type of person who loves words of affirmation, you love all this, like you love being showered with like, you know, I love you, you're so amazing, praises and compliments and all these love words, then you are the type who gets pampered and you nourish, actually not nourish, you thrive and you love being nourished by words of affirmation. So a lot of my friends are like that. They want to hear those things from their partners, right? They want to be, praised and complimented, but they don't get it. They don't get any of that from their partners. That is because that is not their partner's, love expression. They express it in, for example, acts of service. And, they may have overlooked that and take it for granted and not noticing that, those things they do, in practice, is actually, actions to show they love them. Whereas, all the while, we're looking elsewhere. We're looking for the words of affirmation. So this is where things can be, misaligned and also missing. So do, if you're watching right now, Chami, have a think about, what is your love language and what is your partner's love language, and work with each other. Like in my example, I'm definitely words of affirmation. So my husband's very smart, he will like out of nowhere and say something to me. And sometimes I get skeptical. I'm like, why are you saying that to me? Did I do something? He's like, no, I just want to tell you you're amazing. And I'm like, okay, you're consciously practicing. Right. And for me, like, I'm also still learning that his love language is acts of service. I mean, to make him thrive and to make him happy, to turn him on, is actually acts of service. Like things that I do, maybe for example cooking or cleaning, for example, as simple as that, right? Then that actually really makes him feel loved, right? So we've actually discovered that in our first year of marriage, and then we managed to keep things going by showing each other. Like sometimes we do have to make conscious effort, right? But that it's not going to kill you. Do something nice for the other person, and to use their preferred love language is only going to make both of you, it's a win-win situation. You got nothing to lose. Okay. And
this is actually super important, because I think what we can tend to do when we're like, right, this is my love language, is acts of service or affirmations, right? So I expect you now, whoever your partner is, or this actually can apply to friendships, relationships with your parents. This actually is like really universal. We're not just talking about romantic relationships here. Now then,
right.
we then say, right, okay, then you need to learn my love language. Well, okay, masculine. Or actually, it's about meeting them halfway, as Jing was just saying there. Right. So in the moments where he just throws out an affirmation, okay, maybe our instinct would be like, well, why are they saying that? What do they want from me? They must want something, right? It can't be genuine. You never normally do that. When actually we can think, oh, maybe he realizes that actually he's making a conscious effort to learn my love language, and so I'll meet him in the middle here and be like, actually acknowledge it, even if it's not registering, because that's not the way that your heart works. It doesn't receive love in that way. But actually just appreciate and notice that, and that is your act of service then, when they're trying to to learn your language and meet them in the middle. So it's both ways. It's not just saying like you need to learn my love language. It's like I need to recognize when he's making the effort, and I also need to learn his and make that effort too. And it's back and forth, just like Jing was saying there. That was really beautiful.
Yes, so this is a real example, right? And actually, I think it was my husband that actually introduced me to the whole love language thing. Bless you. Yes, so I'm very grateful that the psychology, or like things have been explored and being talked about. And of course, this year I'm waiting for the third one now.
I can't sneeze under pressure.
That is not a party trick. Amy's got other party tricks. Some of you might have seen her yoga practice. Exercise, ladder walk. Yeah, we will do it during Halloween. Okay, we have a Halloween special yoga
Oh
challenge.
yeah, yeah. Oh, so it's
Do
Halloween.
all the zombie stuff.
So funny.
That'll be funny. Okay, sorry. So to bring everybody back to the topic, some of you may be wondering, right? Actually, I just thought that, I love how, every time when we do this kind of like topic-based chat, we're here to discuss, but also there are a lot of amazing values, right, for everybody. But also how we flow today that, Amy, you brought in the love language. And I just thought that, to create a balance and the harmony, love language, communication and understanding each other's love language really, really plays a huge part, right? It really impacts a lot. And, those of you who are learning about love language for the first time, so we've just covered acts of service, words of affirmation, there's three other ones, right? Let me see if I can remember. I actually made a YouTube episode about it. You guys can go to my YouTube channel and discover that. The third one is gifts, right? Thank God. My husband actually told me this. He's like, I am so thankful your language, your love language is not gifts because that would break my bank.
That's so true. Yeah.
Right?
Not
If
sustainable, not sustainable for sure.
right. Some people really love being showered with like actual physical gifts, right? So if you're a gift type of person, type gifts, right? If you're words, type words. If you're acts of service, type service. So a lot of people prefer gifts, and the more they shower with gifts, the more they feel loved for some reason. So that is actually a real type of love language. And we're probably seeing that in, I don't know, maybe in our friends around us or movies. Actually, thankfully, not many friends around me are actually gift oriented, so I'm not exposed to too much of that. But I do see it in like, I don't know, like circles outside of my circle, so like in movies and all that. This one can be very damaging for the wallet. Right? Right. But it could also be, I don't know, for some people's case, it doesn't have to be bought gifts. It could be something that you made yourself, right? You could hand make something, and some people make artworks and things like that. That could also be gifts. And so affirmation and the gifts. I'm trying to think. Oh my God. Touch, physical touch.
Yeah. Comfort.
Right. Yeah, this one is a very common one, like from
All
all
of
of
the languages. I was just thinking that. I think I just want all of the languages all together. How unrealistic is that? But they all sound really nice.
right. Yeah. If we can do all of them, then wow. Then I think for most of us, we do touch on like the other love languages as well. It's just that there may be one that's like the dominant one, right, out of all of it. So the physical touch, and the last one is actually quality time. So time together.
Oh yeah.
So like for example, I think I'm trying to think, my mom is one that really loves, cherishes time together. So yeah, I think of her right away that she loves having time together. So these are the five, boys and girls. Did you get them? Acts of service, words of affirmation. Sorry, your mom too?
It's so true that we have to apply this to not just romantic relationships, because I'll remember like, my mum's love language is definitely making time for her, and it means a lot to her, and I haven't spent time with her in a while. Let's make an effort to do it. And then obviously, yeah, so that this applies to, I think, all relationships and friendships too. So yeah,
definitely. This really helps, right? It's when you think about it, right? Like acts of service, words of affirmation, gifts, quality time, and physical touch. They actually kind of like that. They remind me of psychology. In psychology, people. I'm not really a psychology person. I would like to get into it, but I know that in psychology, people talk about like the 9 different types of people, or 6 different 16, there's like 16 different types of personalities, and there's 9 different types of like personality or people as well. It's kind of similar to that. We're kind of categorized into that. And of course there's no absolute, like it's not absolutely accurate or 100% that, but it helps, right? It helps us understand each other. And a lot of the audience who are watching right now are into astrology, right? Horoscope. So that also helps, oh, this person's a Scorpio. That means, whatever, whatever. Oh, okay, right. Makes a lot of sense. Okay. How do I deal with this person's shit? Okay. Just kidding.
what's that?
Sorry, what's that?
What star sign are you?
I'm Scorpio. That's why I say that.
Actually, that makes sense. That makes a lot of sense. Actually, I can right. You will be able to vet. Right, just think about the most perfect star sign for me. Let's just think about it. Like what my maybe.
Actually, I'm not an expert in star signs,
I'm
so
gonna
I'm
think
very
about it.
lost.
What's my sport? What's my sport? Not yoga. The other one.
Swimming. Also, you're Aquarius?
Almost fish. I'm a Pisces. I actually am.
Oh,
I am
right.
actually a swimmer who is Pisces. So literally, and I feel like completely balanced.
Wow.
When I'm in the water, I'm balanced. I'm okay. It's very interesting. So perfect. That was a
Wow.
digression. Anyway,
Oh, nice. Yeah. What's your sign? Because I know for me, my sign is water sign. So I'm always a water. And even with my Chinese zodiac, I'm a pig, right? And pig is a water sign too. So I'm just stuck with water. Yeah.
yes,
Like being told. Yeah.
that's that's actually really interesting. We're both water signs. Anyway,
We're fluid. That means we are fluid and we're very adapting to
yeah,
changes.
that's it. Yeah.
Right. It's a good balance. So yeah, we're talking about balance and it's
So
so funny.
I think I was thinking the whole time about why Charlie might have asked the question, and we touched on this a little bit, and it's to do with this this beginning part of the relationship. And I think if we read, she commented on the post that it was about sustainability was what she was asking. So then yeah, I think from remembering her initial comment, it was yeah, how do we maintain if we want to maintain that initial beautiful time, the child period, that where everything just feels like amazing. Even the annoying things that annoy you like later, they don't bother you about them. You just blissed out. You just like, yeah, this is just amazing. This feels so great with this person. The honeymoon phase. Actually, probably most people want to try to maintain that, right? That's what people, when they think about maintaining a relationship, they're not actually thinking about maintaining balance in the relationship. They really want to just maintain that phase and make it last forever because it feels so good. But I think the most important thing to remember about that time of the relationship is that it's not actually like real love.
Yes.
That it's passion and lust and good feelings, very, very high vibrations, and it's fulfilling parts of our ego that really want to be fulfilled. And it's not sustainable long term. So, and the reason that I know this, and it's become more clear to me recently, was since I joined this community, since I joined the yoga community, since I see, you know, the faces like Jing's face on the screen that I just like love unconditionally, right? This is not, you know, I feel it come from my heart, right? And it's pure and loving, and that's love, right? There's no, she's not buying me gifts, but if you want to, you can, or anything like that. It's just pure love, right? And there's none of the games. There's none of the, I need to hear from her every day. I need her to say the right things that make me feel good every day. I need her to do everything to make me feel good every day. It's just like I said, like, oh, Jinx texts me, yay. And then if we don't chat for a while, that's fine. And then, you know, it's unconditional. And that's what we want to maintain in the relationship. So I think that the trying to maintain that initial phase is going to be your biggest fight, and is probably going to more like destroy the relationship, because we're trying to chase after and keep something that isn't real. It's the chaos phase that Master always talks about. It's like, you know, elation, and it's chaotic and it feels great, but it's not preservable. It's not sustainable over time.
Definitely. I love that you mentioned this. You broke it down perfectly about the initial phase. And also, I want to add to that is that at the initial phase, both people are trying to impress each other. You know, you're trying to like put on an act, you're trying to put on an act, like knowingly, unknowingly, you know, because you want to show your best side to the other person, right? You know, like it's just the instincts and everything, the marketing, you know, I call it the self-marketing that comes out, like I'm able to do this, I'm with that, let's do this and that, you know. And you know, of course, you know, the real you is there, I'm sure it's there, but the real you is there within that extra, you know, acts, right? So that's why over time, you know, when you are over that period, you know, like some of the efforts you're more comfortable with the person. Let's say, you're more comfortable with the person, so you don't feel like you need to put on that extra acts there. You can start to be yourself, right? For example, start farting in front of each other and then picking your nose, just, example. This will take some time, okay? Not after 3 months. That's a bit fast, okay? We'll talk about it another time, How long should you give each other until you can start to fart in front of each other, right? That's always a test. That's a legit topic, right? Is it a good thing if my partner farts in front of me? Right? I'm being realistic and raw there,
Even then, I think you can go too far the other way, right? Where we're not making the effort, and then it's constant back and forth until you find your balance and long-term balance. What's sustainable for you guys long-term? And then even that may grow and change, because I know about me, I just was saying to Jing, I didn't even recognize like Amy yesterday. I'm evolving so quickly these days, and that's a reflection. My relationships is going to be a reflection of me. So how can we expect, if we're changing so much, that our relationships shouldn't change so much? And we just need to let go of, I think, the expectations of how it should be or how it felt once and how it should feel again. And
that's right. Yeah. So I actually also have something to tell Chami, and then I see that we have a lot of responses in the chat. I just want to read out some of it. And then Chami says something about, this is actually from maybe many minutes ago, and I just saw that now. She said, I was thinking about this in the morning. In life, women have had to become a masculine energy because we have had to protect ourselves from men who are either very much in their feminine energy or very much in their masculine. To protect ourselves requires masculine energy, but when getting to know someone, guys want a feminine energy, but this won't come out unless there's trust. Am I making sense? Yes, we get you. It's again, it's kind of like about being fluid, right? Switching on and off, and know when to let which side of your energy shine and to play, to play, to come out.
Perspective on the statement. I'm not saying it's wrong, but I have a different perspective on the statement that to protect ourselves requires only masculine energy. I think it's one of the ways to protect ourselves, but I think we can also protect ourselves by acknowledging our feelings, for example, by being true to our feelings, by true to ourselves, and just standing solidly, and this is how I feel, and I think yielding, but also being strong in just how owning our invulnerability, if that makes sense, is also another way to go about protecting ourselves, rather than just don't hurt me, this
shielding. Yeah.
Actually, I'm really solid in who I am and what I am, and I am who I am, and you're not in that way really vulnerable, if that makes sense, just by owning yourself and owning your emotions and owning your
Definitely, I totally agree with that. You have to be vulnerable first to be stronger, right? Strong strength requires us to be vulnerable as well and be authentic, right? Then always be at the mode of fighting, protecting, that hard energy.
We need to know both ways. There's times where we need to tear down the thing that is going to potentially hurt me or threaten my family, right? That in that masculine way. And there's times where I think there's balance in that too. Carry on.
Definitely. I know, right? It's really amazing. And I also saw from Jackie. Hi, Jackie. She said that she's affirmation and touch for her, and Chami is acts of service. I just saw the girls. Yeah, Jackie, I think she's still here, or she was here. She said she was affirmation and touch. And I know it's Amy and I may have to end our live talk very soon in a minute, because we have our beautiful wife and teacher Lights coming here live to do her pre-training, the yoga pre-training with everybody. So make sure you don't go away, stay inside Creator Circle. Today is full on, and then we have I think Chibari doing FLC challenge right after that. So those of you who are staying on this channel, the Creator Circle channel, you got a lot of programs going today on Wednesday. But before we go, I would just love to thank all the girls for tuning today. I think we got quite a lot of people tuning in and out, in and out, and participating in this Wednesday women's wellness talk, and especially with beautiful Amy, and we're talking about relationships. And one more thing I would like to tell Chami about your question of maintaining the balance is that also remember to give yourself the emotional independency. Create that independent time and that emotional independency for yourself, so that when you're actually by yourself, you need to consciously create the space and time for yourself, rather than like always spending time with the other person. This is actually speaking from experience, that I was once that needy girlfriend, always had to spend time with the other person. I felt like that was necessary for the relationship, but I was actually pushing that person away because I was actually not consciously making time for myself. Everything was about, hi, Louis. He's getting more and more handsome every day, right? Every time when I see you, he's just getting more and more handsome. So good to see you, Louis.
We have to maintain balance in this relationship. We have to, yeah. We have to work it out. I think it applies to all. Sorry, it's going long. Okay, I'm just finishing up here. Yeah, can you give me a minute?
Just 2 more minutes. He's so cute. Yeah, so make sure that you do have time for yourself, do the stuff you like, hang out with your friends and have your own alone time, and then have also the quality time with your other half. So that way I feel that also answers the whole balance theme, right? So you don't feel like, oh my god, all my time and everything energy is actually spent with the other person. And this is actually when you start to lose, like from my experience, start to lose some of that self-awareness and self-worth, and things that you're supposed to build and to grow for yourself only when you're by yourself, not when you have the other person's energy involved. So I just want to quickly mention that. I actually forgot to mention this at the beginning, but I feel that this is actually very useful for you and also for a lot of ladies out there, to make sure that while you're dating, in a relationship, or even married, make sure that you still have that alone time and give the other person their space as well. Yeah.
Beautiful. Thank you. I think this has been a really good Wednesday. And if you want to comment and let us know what you would like to talk about next week, we could even do a part 3 of relationships. Seems like there's still some to talk about. So comment, let us know what you would like us to talk about next week in relationships. And I think the only thing that I really wanted to just say that was coming up for the Charnie and whoever else has that question of how to and has logged in because they saw the question, how to maintain balance in a relationship. Don't try too hard to maintain balance, right? Sure, there's going to be times that we were talking about where you need to take some action to maintain the balance with learning your partner's love language, making some effort, that kind of thing. But when you're really going to try, well, I need to find balance, then the balance will naturally happen when you take a step back and find your peace and balance in yourself first. Because nature, as I said, don't try too hard. Nature is all about balance. If we allow it, things will naturally come to balance. This is the way that the physical world works, nature works, energy works, is to find balance. So if we just take a step back, find peace and calmness in ourselves, the balance will happen. So that's all I wanted to say.
That's so beautiful, Amy. I love the way you describe that, with the touch of nature and science. Oh, it's just so beautiful. Yes, so everyone, if you know exactly or you want to ask us to talk about anything specific, especially if you want to see a relationship talk part 3, let us know exactly what you want us to talk about, right? Otherwise, we'll pick something else for you. I'm sure you will still, all of you will still be very engaged and intrigued. So I guess, we'll see everybody here next Wednesday. And if you do want to know more about, women's wellness and confidence and love and relationship, make sure you reach out to Amy and I. And also, I also have a women's only group, a women only body confidence builder Facebook group. So feel free to join us in a women only tribe. And also don't forget to join the Y4M yoga. It was because of Y4M that brought us together, right? So So that's it from us this week. And hello, Jackie. Yes, she's saying, yeah, putting her last minute comment here. Relationship is a large rabbit hole. Indeed, valuable insight, definitely worthy of another meetup. Yes. Okay, give us a topic,
Okay,
Jackie.
we'll have a topic.
Yes. Okay, so we have to go now. And thank you so much, Amy. Always love hanging out with you. And we'll see you and see everybody here next Wednesday, 5 p.m. UK time.
Love you all.
Love you. Bye.